In abbey shores where shadows play, the alley whispers night and day. In Abomination alley's grip, where fear and danger tightly knit. Oh, the alley breathes a tale untold of secrets dark and hearts grown cold. Abbey streets, they'll pull you in to the depths where sin begins.
Hello and welcome to Dire Bear. It's Tuesday night, which of course means we're playing Abomination Alley, or BRP actual play. I'll be your storyteller for the evening, Jason. And with me as usual will be Carr playing Teak, Sarah playing Vivian,
Vigorous waving.
Eric playing Michael, Jeremy playing Salvador. And it's going to be Patrick playing Leo, but I realize I've got him in the wrong spot.
Ah, you figured it out.
Patrick.
Much too late.
Patrick,
There we
do you mind being George Stone for the night?
I'm gonna need you to grow beard.
Oh, never mind. I just have to move the curtain. You were behind the other curtain.
Become a
All right,
dwarf.
we're good to go. That's why you weren't the right size, and I had to adjust it earlier. Okay.
Put on the cursed belt of dwarven kind that slowly turns you into a dwarf.
Before we get started, let me jump over to the map screen and make sure I've got it right over there. All right, it is right over there. Jolly good then.
Oh.
All right. Who remembers what happened last week? Patrick, go.
Wasn't here.
All right. So we had Teak go and visit Boss Marduk. It was a very different Teak than we had previously seen.
Yep.
I was going to let you expand, but okay.
Oh, I mean, Teak basically called the mob boss an idiot to his face. Don't break into his house.
Sure, there will be no repercussions.
Oh, I'm sure there will be.
Whatsoever.
Well,
Tiny legs, big bravery.
orcs do respect boldness. By the same token, you
anything-
can get too bold and be like, you know your
Yeah.
punting size, right? Boom.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He only called the boss an idiot, but he disrespected the guard by spitting on his boot.
That is fair. Had you spit on
In
Boss
no way-
Marduk, there would have been gunfire.
In no way did he disrespect Boss Marduk as far as physical action. Verbal action, however, can be taken whichever way you want.
Let's see. Mr. Anderson went and spoke with the police chief. Explained to him that he was trying to help a troll that had killed people get out of town. Explained the emotional state he was in at the time. He is not used to dealing with
police
trolls.
chief.
He then went and talked to his boss in the DA's office. He was put on administrative leave. There is going to have to be an investigation.
Yep.
On the upside, that frees up his time for his gallivanting and vigilanteism. Vigilanteing. Let's see. Vivian minded the shop, fielded some calls from the Brewers Guild. They are on board with peace talks. Some news about the troll has gotten out. it has made the papers. Now, the human papers have not necessarily identified it as a troll, just that the police, confronted something. There were dead orcs around it. A police officer was injured in the line of duty, though the police did not suffer fatalities. You're pretty sure the troll is out of town. Fingers crossed.
If not, we will happily let the orcs and dwarves deal with them.
We're 1925, right?
Correct.
Okay. Just that informs how I describe my room to Teak here in a little bit, who slept over at Salvador's house.
Oh, that is correct. That's right. He was a little nervous about going home after he'd been broken into, and
No, he just didn't want to be alone.
Let's see. Salvador made him a new friend as he camped out in a random dwarf who happened to be a veteran.
Yep.
Now, veteran of the Spanish-American War. He had not been in the
He's
First World War.
much older than Salvador.
Yeah. He was middle age for a dwarf, maybe sliding on the maybe on the downward slide of middle age.
Yep. That midlife crisis is about to hit so hard.
But so camped over there and watched Teak go in to make sure that Teak came out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
How to ride with Teak.
There was a meeting back up at the office. You had a meeting with Boss Marduk, where you seem to have managed to smooth things over to some degree. Like, he is not happy with the decisions made.
But he understands things moved fast, and
Things moved fast. So I'm trying to think. Did Michael explain his part in that to Marduk?
He did, I think.
Yeah. That's right.
yeah, he rolled
He
high on
explained what
charisma.
little bit he knew earlier, and then at the big meeting.
Yeah, and then I don't think Michael lied to him.
No, I think y'all were remarkably honest about everything. I mean, I'm not saying y'all are liars, but sometimes your characters can be.
No, yeah, Michael
Absolutely.
just flat out said he gave his word. And that even had if I remember correctly, Boss Marduk's like, well, it's rare to find an honest lawyer.
Yeah. I think that was meant to be more snide than complimentary, but So yeah, that seems to be roughly smooth over. Maybe he's not exactly friendly. Maybe he's not leaning towards friendly in his attitudes to you, but maybe he won't have people drive by with Tommy guns and gun you down in the street. We'll see.
I will roll an even more annoying character.
Then I will come
I will
up with
say,
even more
if-
belovable NPCs to kill in front of you.
If Michael does bite it, I will
Son of a
probably
bitch.
default to my standard, which is combat monkey.
Oh God.
Speaking of beloved characters, let's see. Lilac prank called Vivian. Had found some work. Vivian had some of the oddest questions about the job. It was kind of weird.
She knows Lilac's history.
Look, she's pocketed a little bit of jewelry from time to time.
Who's
She
to
can't really
say?
pocket it if it's as big as you.
Okay, maybe she's very good at it. Maybe she makes her own pants, so she's got very big pockets.
Get this dress. It has pockets of holding.
But anyway, the meeting was set up for the next day, I believe.
High noon.
Yes, I believe that was Boss Marduk's decision there.
We let everybody involved know.
We called the dwarves and said that we had those antiques they were wanting to look at.
Yes, you were very circumscribed on the phone. I think that's the right word. Anyway. But this isn't Wolf's first radio And so he picked up on what you were laying down pretty quick. So yeah, so they will come to your office. They'll both probably leave some guys down in the diner. I'm not sure if y'all should be warning the lady that owns the diner or runs the diner that this stuff's going on, or just leave her blissfully happy that, man, it's been had an odd
This has been great.
crowd the
hell?
last couple days. This ain't too bad.
Man, I've done
Tell
more
them-
business in the last 2 days than I've ever done.
We're done.
Tell them they have to tip very well and be very nice to the waitress.
So yes, so y'all had retired for the evening. I think when Vivian got home, that was when she had the conversation with Lilac. That was when Teak decided to go home with Salvador.
Teak sees a Bowie knife about the size of Teak. Bordering on like short sword.
I was about to say that would be a short sword.
Yeah.
Kobolds are short.
That's not
but
a
they're
knife.
Yeah.
This is annoying.
It is a hand and a half sword for Teak.
Okay.
No. And then copies of a British publication called The Wizard.
All right.
There's one that says it's like The Wizard. It's a collection of like short stories.
Oh, okay.
And you see on it's like the title, and then it has two different like blurbs on the sides, and one of them says The Fighting Fury takes the ring next week, and the other one says read the Irreplaceable Beano. It'll make you roar. And it costs 2 pence.
Okay.
That's it. That's like two of the most noteworthy things besides Salvador's like weapons. It's very plain Jane besides that.
Okay. Are they like magazines or are they like newspapers? Sorry.
They are almost like comic strips, but they're
Oh, okay.
more in like they're like short stories rather than comics. But it's just a
Okay.
collection of different ones.
Tinkle pick one up and look at it.
Were those like
Yeah.
tabloid style as far as like how they were published?
They were like tabloid style, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 20s predates actual comics. You had comic strips, but it predates actual comics. But you had a lot of short story related stuff.
Yeah.
You weren't
just a collection of
quite
short
into
stories.
what we think of as the pulp novels, but you were just
Mhm.
coming away from the Penny Dreadfuls.
Teak picks one up, and Salvador's like, "Yeah, I picked one of those up in Europe, and it just kept coming to me every time." Now the international shipping is awful.
Why do you still pay for it then?
It's a good it's a good selection of short stories. They can be kind of dry sometimes, but it's something to do while and I've also made them, wait a month before shipping, a whole section of them to me.
Oh, so like a bulk shipment.
Yeah. I have them like collect. I have them collect, and then they'll send this way.
Okay. And just keep flipping through the book.
Mhm. They're rather. They haven't gone. We're not in World War II yet, so they don't have the actual good ones that will
Ah.
turn into like comics.
So
But
they're
some
kind
interesting
of dry,
stories in
but
them. They're
yeah.
pretty dry, but
okay.
just some. And Salvador will even pipe up. Like as you can see, there's not a whole lot to do around here, so got to keep yourself occupied.
Nice.
I can't oil my gun forever. I'll run out of oil.
There's so many times that I can take a headlight apart.
Exactly.
Speaking of, do you have someone that can teach me in rifles, or can you teach me in rifles? I've been meaning to try.
Right when you say rifles, and he
He
Yeah.
points at like
holds-
the like
he holds the rifle that's fully taller than you are.
yeah. He's like, yeah, probably more my size, but yeah.
Well, there's a differential in size, so like
Yeah.
the things I can teach you are mostly going to be basics of firearms. The fact that you were using those pistols that you were using was already remarkable. If anything, I think you could teach me a couple things because that was very interesting. But
They taught me a few things. Let's just say that.
I bet. But if you're really interested, I know a guy who's been kind of showing me. Maybe he can help you out as well.
Sure.
Or he can help me and I can help you. We'll see how it goes.
He'll nod. Oh, tomorrow during the negotiation, can you pat down the orcs? I can get the dwarves, but I can only go so high when it comes to taller folk.
If you want me to, yeah.
He nods. He's like, just, rather than walk in without weaponry.
We agree on that.
All right. So I'm assuming y'all eventually turn in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to ask where was Leo in all of this.
Did we ever say
That's
for
a
sure
good-
where Leo went?
No.
Nope.
He went back home, but that was it. You tell us, buddy.
Yeah, where did Leo go?
Well, Leo, as per Patrick talking to me offline, is growing more interested in his spiritual studies. He had just barely started it before he got drafted. And with the goings on, he's tending to lean more in that direction. So, Patrick, what we're going to say is that you've been looking around trying to find somebody that can continue your training.
All right.
You're not having much luck in the city, but cities aren't necessarily where shamans tend to be attracted.
Yeah.
But you've been asking around, does anybody know somebody out in the county? In fact, if you want to, go ahead and give me a roll. Let me pull up a character. Oh, that's not a character sheet.
Watch it somehow tie into like the father of the troll that we helped ends up being the shaman.
Yeah, no kidding.
Don't be ridiculous. Male trolls are not smart enough to work magic. You need a troll wife for that.
Okay, so his mama.
What would I be rolling in this instance?
Streetwise or something? One moment while I search through the skills.
I also have research, if that'll help.
Well, I'm not seeing a streetwise.
Fast talk, maybe?
Fast talk is probably the closest thing.
Fast talk
Streetwise
is more like trickery in your speech and.
So Streetwise is a knowledge roll.
Yeah.
Salvador has Streetwise, but it's he has a little bit of Streetwise. So that's
Yeah,
why
I have
that's why
knowledge
has it.
occult, knowledge history.
Oh, okay. So it's a specific type of knowledge that you'd have to take. Okay,
Yes.
okay, I got you.
Could just do an int roll, maybe.
Yeah.
Or idea roll.
I'll tell you what, Patrick. I'll let you make either an ideal roll or a research roll, whichever you prefer.
An ideal roll is my I times 5, correct?
Well, it's on your sheet. Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. You're using actual dice. Yes, it's times 5.
Yeah. All right. So in that case, the idea roll would actually be more beneficial for me.
Correct. But you don't check it to then raise it.
Correct. That's kind of what I thought it'd be. Glad I did, because it was literally 1 over what my research was.
All right. So what did you get?
37.
All right. And what did you need?
75.
All right. So you needed a 75. Base chance was 75. And you said you got a what? A 30.
7.
Okay, so that's just a regular success.
Yeah.
All right, so you've asked around, and yeah, you're pretty sure there's nobody. It doesn't seem like there's anybody in town. Other than just some bare bones dabblers that truthfully are about on par. You know, that you're pretty much on par with them already. A couple of people suggest an old lady that lived north of the city, but they're not sure. She was awfully old. The last they heard anything of her, they're not sure she's still alive. A few of them suggest checking the Bad River Reservation. They know they used to have a couple of guys down there.
Okay.
And that's down kind of south and west, across the state line.
Old lady north of the city.
I will get you a name eventually.
And the
Bad River Reservation.
All right.
By the time you get home in the evening, a message had been left for you. Because y'all by this point, exchanged how to get in touch with each other. So there's a message been left for you about, hey, stuff's been smoothed over a little bit. We're having the big powwow tomorrow, high noon, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, all the details you've heard us talking about. Is there anyone else doing anything in the evening?
Just probably reading stories with Teak
Okay.
until we pass out.
Not so much in the evening, but like first thing in the morning, Vivian will make sure to try and get out early to gather like extra chairs and finger foods for the meeting.
Steal them from the surrounding offices.
Yeah.
Vivian, you wake up bright and early in the morning. To the sound of movement in the kitchen.
Sprite size moving or?
I'm trying to decide what sprite size movement would be.
Like, does it sound like a full-grown adult human or like?
Well, you hear cabinet doors opening and shutting. Some dishes being, a dish being put in the sink, sort of thing.
Okay. Yeah, she isn't expecting anyone to break in. She'll just walk out there.
Lilac seems to be rushing to get something to eat.
Early morning date?
Like her cooking didn't wake you up, but the cleanup is kind of when you were rousing him. Around a mouthful of food, she's like, yeah, I got a message from an employer. There's a package I need to carry. Early, as soon as the business opens.
Okay.
Like, hopefully this early morning stuff won't be the regular. Oh, but it probably will be, won't it?
Maybe you can request later in the day when possible, or see if they have rotating shifts.
Yeah, maybe after I'm in good with them. You don't want to be too demanding to start with.
Yeah, give it a couple weeks.
Would have made you breakfast, but I'm in a hurry. Bye.
But, she'll go about getting ready and gathering supplies for the meeting.
You realize the skillet that she set in the sink, she hadn't actually scrubbed it clean yet. It was just it's still bits of egg stuck to it.
Scrubs the pan before getting dressed.
You can't put soap in it. It's the 20s. That thing will actually kill the pan.
Yeah.
Not the cast iron.
Oh.
Grandma, I would say this is the 20s. Everybody would know that. But given Vivian's background, maybe not.
She's
Grandma,
lived on
you
her
won't
own
bel-
for a couple years now.
you won't believe how dirty this pan was, Grandma.
Yeah, she'll get everything, get dressed probably a little bit nicer than usual because of the meeting, and then head on out.
All right, Leo. The sun is rising.
He gets cleaned up. Because one of the things I actually kind of said, Leo has like a storefront. Well, it was abandoned when he found it. He went through at least the legal papers to actually get it. That's kind of
Yeah.
where his practice is. Although it's mostly just medical advice because he doesn't have the actual license kind of thing. So
I'm not exactly a licensed doctor.
yeah, it's one of those. He's essentially runs a stop and dock.
But
What you're
officially, it's
saying is
listed as
Leo
kind
is
of a folk remedy shop
Yeah.
sort of thing.
That's what you're saying is Leo is a quack.
He's a quack
he
with
actually-
training.
Educated quack.
On the job training, because that's why you're still alive.
He's a goose.
You know, it's like he's that guy that oh yeah, he was a medic in the military. We'll go ask him for advice.
Yeah.
He just charges you for the advice.
It's all the power of holism.
And with
He
it's
has a
more the
donation
fact
jar, and you just pay the donation, and
and his whole real thing is the fact that being an orc, let's just say medical school was kind of not an option.
Yes. And you are set up in the heavily strange folk side of town, so the human authorities are not looking that closely.
Yeah.
You got a license for that, buddy? Got your license right here. Pulls out a submachine gun.
But that's a Tommy gun. You don't need a license for that. All right, so you put in some work. You go to work for the early part of the morning.
Yeah.
And you have people coming by. Most of your clients are not of the wealthy persuasion.
Yeah.
There are actual hospitals that will take the strange folk. You probably have more orc customers than anything.
Yeah.
But you're growing a reputation. Other people trickle in. You have not been in town that long.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Anderson,
Yeah.
what time do you get up?
Probably about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Okay. So you're up before the sun.
Mhm.
What are you gonna do with the early part of your day? It's you're not exactly going to work.
Gonna do some research.
Okay.
Basically, reference the more occult tomes that he has, as well as the book that Vivian got him, and just kind of do some cross-referencing. See if he can't get some more in-depth knowledge on like strange folk. It's basically like folk knowledge that's kind of second nature to the strange folk that he wouldn't have that background information for, being human.
Okay. Tired of feeling like he's on the back foot in conversations with the strange folk.
Yeah.
Makes sort of amount of sense. About 7:30 or so. There's a knock on your door.
Mm-hmm. Typing notes.
If you don't answer quickly enough, the door just opens.
Considering he's probably doing research, it's more than likely he won't get there fast enough.
You're coming down, you took your time stopping, but you're coming down, and there was a second and third knock. And by the time you come down the stairs, the door just opens and Dorothy walks in.
Mm-hmm.
Shuts the door, puts her key back in her purse. She doesn't look
Hello,
happy
Dorothy.
when she looks up at you. When were you going to tell me you got suspended?
Considering it happened last night, it was going to be today.
It was up during the day yesterday. I had learned it. Well, it doesn't matter who I learned it from.
And who did you learn it from?
I just said it doesn't matter. Were you really trying to help some monster get out of town?
Trying to prevent further loss of life. And when you have a shotgun the size of a car pointed at you.
Okay, that makes sense. But then why go tell people you did that?
Because I don't lie.
I didn't tell you to lie. Just don't talk.
That is still a lie by omission.
You're not obligated to tell everybody everything that happens in your life, except me when I ask. Did you eat
True
breakfast this
little
morning?
sister energy.
I have not eaten breakfast, no. I was doing some research.
Do you have food in your kitchen? Or do
There's
I have to
always
drag you
food
out
in
of
the
the house?
kitchen.
All right. Don't get used to this, but I'll fix you something.
I'd appreciate that.
You say that, but have you had Dorothy's cooking?
I don't know, has he?
You've had her attempts at doing something fancy. They were
Mhm.
less than spectacular.
Okay.
Now, something
Is
as
she-
basic as scrambling some eggs and frying some bacon, surely she can handle it. Surely.
Well, help yourself. So I've got some research to do, so let me know when you're finished, I suppose.
What are we researching?
I'm a little tired about being on the back foot with all these folklore and tales that are natural to the others.
Oh. You might look into how ambassadors, prepare when they're going somewhere.
That is an angle I could take.
Just as a way to build a study plan.
I appreciate that.
Well, one of us has to be the brain.
Good to see you too, Dorothy.
So yeah, she whips up breakfast, and breakfast is fine,
Yeah.
Basic cooking is clearly not out of her wheelhouse.
Mhm.
Souffles may not be her thing. Salvador Antique. Now, Salvador, like Leo, you're former military, so I imagine you're up early, kind of whether you need to be or not.
Early. Yeah, it never goes away. So
How early
unless
do you get up?
5:30 in the morning.
Teek's right there with you.
Yep. So he gets up. He's a little surprised that you're up. He's like, he nods. He's like, okay. He does his little Salvador does some like squats and some calisthenics to like warm up.
Calisthenics
and
a
it's
thing
like,
in the 20s.
Or
I know they were around.
exercises. We'll leave it at that.
That's fair. That's fair. Whether they were or not,
Yep.
you had exercise.
I did not have. Maybe they didn't have a name for it, but they've been doing the same thing forever.
Teek has found a way to brew coffee.
he checks his weapons, makes sure they're good. They are good. He puts both of them in the duffel bag because he is going to do that thing again where he tapes it to the bottom of the chair.
Nice. Oh, calisthenics got it started in like 1856. You're good.
Oh,
Excellent.
there you go.
Yeah, so he's doing calisthenics. He will and then after he finishes up, looks at Teak and he's like, "Do you have something fancy to wear?"
He looks down. He's like, not really at home.
I understand you're not at home, but we can get something for you. Maybe a trip to the tailor.
Probably wouldn't hurt.
Excellent. And then Salvador's going to pull out the one suit that he has because he has to have a suit for army banquets and stuff like that.
Yeah. The military style fancy dress.
Yep. It's not a military like outfit.
It's not dress
but it is-
uniform.
It's not dress uniform. It's just a heavier than it should be jacket. It's
Gotcha.
just fancy. It's nice and ironed. It's creased up really nice. His pants are creased up really nice.
It's still in like the dry cleaner bag around the hanger.
Yep. This gets worn once every couple of years.
Yet he carries it around with him wherever he goes.
Yep. I get it altered every time.
But luckily
then,
this time
he
it
puts
still
that on.
fits.
Puts it on. And he'll go with Teak to the tailor to get him a little something.
Okay. You get a little bit of a weird look. I mean, you're going to a strange folk tailor, so it's not that kobolds are, unheard of.
Yeah.
But it's an
And
elf
Teak-
already in
and Teak
a nice
probably-
outfit, and then Teak walking in looking like a mechanic.
But Teak probably has like his mafia suit, but he's not going to get that out at all.
The pinstripes are a dead giveaway.
Yeah, well, he might have a plan for that later.
Teak starts his own mob.
So get Teak all fancied up for a bit.
But yeah, as long as y'all got money, the tailor is happy to get to work.
I've got some, yeah.
Now, you're basically having to grab something off the rack and have him adjust it. That's the only way it's going to happen in
Yeah.
time.
That is perfectly fine.
Teak's fine with that.
Now, he does try to upsell y'all into buying like a completely custom something. I mean,
Maybe
obviously,
next
you need
time.
this for today. Obviously, we'll just we'll just make the adjustments on whichever one you like.
Maybe next time.
They do take your full measurement, so they'll have that on record.
And Teak's like an old pro at it. He's just like, they don't even tell him. He just moves like what he needs to move right when they're about to do it.
Yep.
And when you first start that, there's a little bit of surprise, and they're like, "Oh, this is somebody that's worn suits before." Okay.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's just fallen on hard times recently.
Mm.
What you
I
don't
say that
see
Teak
is-
doesn't dress junkily. It's not like he's there in his
No,
actual work
He's just
clothes.
he's just a grease monkey.
Yeah. He's just in casual.
Yeah, he
In
dresses in
plain
casual when he's out and about, but I mean, when he's doing the job, he doesn't. It's like there's going to get oil on here. I don't care.
Your work clothes are your work clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
What you don't
Yeah.
see in Salvador's dry cleaning bag is some epaulets that he just doesn't wear anymore. They've gone out of style.
Ooh, you were really out of focus there, Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it always was to some degree.
I don't know why, but now I have this image of bright red kobold in a navy suit, navy blue suit.
Well, contrasting colors.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where the orc mob mostly prefers black or gray or dark greens.
Yeah.
With
Something
pinstripes, almost
muted.
always the pinstripes. They do the pinstripes to the point that non-mob members within Orc Society tend to avoid pinstripes. So yeah, you get your suit, and y'all went to a nice enough place, but not something super fancy. It's not more expensive than y'all can handle.
Affordable.
Yep.
The men's warehouse.
And it's the 20s, of course. You get a hat to go with it.
Yep, I
He's gonna
forgot
like
my
the way
hat.
he looks.
Oh yeah, usually I chastise you for that. I mean, remind you to get it.
Yeah.
Completely forgot. Maybe that's what
Be
I was
right back.
thinking.
Game.
I would point evil monkey style, but y'all wouldn't tell who I was pointing at. So.
Pop it up this time.
All right. So anyway, y'all all at whatever time y'all decided y'all were meeting up at the office to get ready, y'all meet up.
Teeks has his chest to put the guns in. He probably just left it in the room because he knew he was going to be back.
I figured it'd just be like one of those big old, just trunks that people. Before really luggage was truly a thing.
Yeah.
There was one type of luggage, a box.
Some cars had racks in the back where you could strap them in.
Yep.
All right, so y'all all get there. So y'all see Salvador walk in. Teague is walking in a very nice new suit. Salvador's suit is also very fancy. And when the two of you walk in, Vivian is there in a better dress than you generally see her in.
Yep.
Points at like a smaller tray of goodies. He's like, that is ours. The rest is for the meeting.
Yes, Mom.
The look she gives.
I don't think Salvador realizes he said that. He just kind of like continues doing some busy work.
Which probably makes it more insulting because that implies that Salvador is really just being reminded of his mother.
No, Michael's there. He just has a thermos of coffee.
When Michael left the house, Dorothy is trying to tag along.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, like as y'all are walking out, she's just following you to the car. Like not asking really, not.
Yeah. Is there something else you needed, Dorothy?
Literally, door the handle. She just looks at you like, well, you'll need somebody there to take notes. You're not trying to make Vivian the secretary, are you?
No.
The hesitation makes her narrow her eyes at you.
No, I'm not.
No woman is going to no woman of her standing is going to would appreciate that.
Abbott?
I mean, it's actually my job, so I don't mind.
You're just trying to bully me into taking you along, aren't you?
No. I just don't want you to foul things up. When they're just maybe starting to get right. Let's just go.
Amazing.
Fine. And he'll bring her along.
Okay. So when y'all see Michael arrive, Dorothy's with him.
There is a raised eyebrow.
She offered to be the secretary for the meeting.
Not to be ungrateful, but did you explain to her the participants in the meeting?
No, I did not. Takes a sip from the thermos.
The look is, are you going to?
So, Dorothy, you have bullied your way into being the secretary for the meeting of a potential peace talk between the Orc Mob and the Dwarven Brewers Guild.
There's a pause.
You could still leave.
And then a slow smile.
Damn
Well,
it.
that's quite. That
Oh,
sounds nice.
dear.
My concern is that this was not something that was cleared prior. And we're already on shaky ground with at least Boss Marduk.
Well, do they know how many of you there are?
It was put into the papers, so I would assume they've done their research. I'm not discounting your offer, but I also don't want to
think
involve you in things that could be dangerous.
this is I feel this is the benefit of us having the what do they call it? Bob? The home field advantage. That this is our place, and if we need somebody to take notes about the meeting, we will do that. You're not the you are we are taking steps to make sure you are not the secretary.
And I never assumed it.
If they have a problem with it,
The
They're gonna have to
vindicated
deal with it.
look that Michael gives Dorothy.
She just looks smug.
I just want you to be aware of what you're walking into and the consequences thereof.
Teek and I are going to check the. I will explain that to Dorothy. Just kind of like walk up and go, "Hi, we met New Year's
Yes, yes.
and a couple of times here and there in the office."
Yeah,
but,
Mr. Salvador, I believe it was.
Yes,
Teak tips his hat.
I want to stress the importance of this, and I'm going to say it this way. Teek and I are going to check these gentlemen for weaponry.
Okay, that's probably good. They're mobsters.
Yes.
Well, and bootleggers.
They could stuff still could slip through. I don't have one of those weird. He like makes the metal detector the one that you use with the that looks like a broom handle.
Are those even a thing yet?
I think
No.
those are. No? Oh,
Those were developed after World War One.
it is after World War One.
Well, in that case, we're getting into that.
Metal detectors of the 1920s.
Here we go.
It's like
Here
no
we
matter
go.
how much stuff I look up between games,
Uh-huh.
it's always something else y'all bring up. It's something that makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Mhm.
Let's see. The modern metal detector began taking shape in the 1920s.
Oh, okay.
Maybe there's a magical doodad that detects metal.
The
Yeah.
first U.S. patent for an electrical metal detector, 1925.
Hey.
So unless you're buying,
But
and this is early
The top of the
1925,
line.
so
I base a lot to put a poke behind the screen real quick as a tangent. I base a lot of the things that Salvador is referencing here based on if I've heard of it on the Brady Bunch or like on those shows.
No.
that's the 60s. That's a little bit further.
Yeah.
It's
Gonna
it's
say-
far back enough. Well, they're
Just
but
40
they're
years.
based on something. They're based on something from back then, though. They're not based on something that takes place in the 60s.
No,
We
they
sh- we sh-
are, dude.
Before this campaign, we should have done a movie night and watched a bunch of episodes of The Untouchables, the old black and white Untouchables TV show.
Yeah.
Still can.
The movie would be acceptable
Anyway.
as well.
Or just any kind of just like old serials would probably be a good one too.
Yep.
Does that mean we're having a podcast night for next one?
Oh God.
Jeez.
Anyway, he thinks stuff might slip through the cracks, and there could be trouble. I just want to stress that to you.
It also makes them aware of you, which could lead to its own trouble.
I just want to help out.
Prior,
I'm not, I'm not afraid. I mean, if something breaks out, I'm not going to jump in. I'm not going to jump in and try to fight. I know where my strengths lie.
Of course,
Teak,
just
as subtly as Teak can, he looks over at Michael and like just points. And mouths. She works for you.
He gets a very small. There's a small sigh.
And Teak just looks at her and then looks at him. It's like, I approve. Just kind of folds his arms.
all right, if everyone is in agreement, I guess.
There's pros and cons to this. Dorothy, I know you wanted to be a part of this group very badly.
Well, I want to help the group. I don't know that I necessarily want to be going into abandoned buildings and fighting monsters, but
you don't.
Well, yes, but you were very disappointed you weren't picked when the runes were pulled.
that's fair.
But yes, as I did point out, this does make 2 criminal enterprises aware of your existence and who you're tied to.
I doubt they worry that much about secretaries.
Looks over at Teak for like a indication.
I think we all do.
It's what would Teak know?
The Orc Mob does not go out of its way. Even if they're in open conflict, they don't necessarily go out of the way to kill like the housekeepers and the secretaries.
Yeah.
Or
They
even
don't
like
go
the
out-
guys running an opponent,
Yeah, because
rival organization
even back
skill.
then, they would not target the help just because, well, that's more people you have to look after.
Yeah. Teak would explain. It's like normally, at least with the Orc Mob, they wouldn't go after the help. They wouldn't go after the secretaries. Now, granted, if they had a beef with the person and they found out that they were like married, that might cause a problem. But it's kind of not something that they really go after.
However,
So-
also more to the point, I put a lot of them away.
So you keep saying.
Well, then we don't tell them that I'm your secretary, just that I'm your secretary. She spreads her arms to include everybody.
I mean, if anything, you could also bear it down to, and he points to Vivian. It's like her secretary, if they ask.
Yeah, she takes a step closer to Vivian. That would work.
Why?
I mean, after all, as she pauses, she kind of looks at Michael. Do they know your work situation?
Yes, we're aware.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't be doing much work for him right now, so I really could be all secretary at least for the interim.
There is wow, there's a lot of chairs in here actually.
I know. I might have gotten too many.
Here,
It's just
Salvador
all
grabs
chairs
one.
stacked to the stage.
Keeps bringing in chairs.
Salvador
Where did these
grabs
come
one.
from?
Salvador grabs one and takes it to like the far edge next to a closet to give and puts it down. Is like, here, this will be your seat.
Oh, thank you.
Just presents
Well,
it. That
if
way,
nothing else. Sorry, if nothing
strategically
else.
move. Yep. Sorry.
Sorry. So if nothing else, they might want a record of what was said at the meeting.
That's all criminal organizations do.
Also, I mean, if a written contract needed to be made, I'm sure, and he motions to Dorothy.
Well,
I
given the
assume you
nature
could
of the
probably
two
do
organizations,
that.
given the nature of the two-
Little known fact about orc gangs: they are very litigious.
she's like given the nature of the two organizations, it would not be a binding contract. But if they each took a copy of it, neither side could claim that, neither side could break it without the other one being able to, kind of present evidence
Mhm.
if they worried about such a thing. And, if they demand that I leave, well, I'm not going to throw a fuss in front of them.
Well, that's why I have you seated over here, so that and he's strategically moving the chairs to be like a good, we don't have 5 feet, but like as close to 5 feet away as I can.
We have at least 5 feet. It's not a broom closet.
While we're discussing this,
And it makes y'all seem more professional.
Michael actually will go over to the. Well, how much time do we have until noon?
How early were y'all going to meet up and get ready?
Well,
Yeah, that'd
Michael
be-
did want to make a stop first because him, with his memory, remembered Marduk made a demand specifically of him for the meeting. So we wanted to make sure he had time to get that done.
Okay. I don't have psychic memory. What was the demand?
That he presents a copy of basically the report saying that the troll was run out of town.
Oh, that's right. And I think you had already called the police chief about that.
He went to talk to the police chief. He didn't call him, but he went
Okay.
like that. After that meeting, he walked there to talk to them because
Okay.
Teak specifically mentioned, lines being tapped, and then that caused the police to say, yeah, well, the police have the authority to do that, but
Okay. Then yeah,
Let's
you
just say
could have
someone-
swung by on the way and picked that up.
okay,
Because I want to say the chief had already kind of okayed that.
yeah,
Now it's a little because you're suspended basically.
uh-huh.
So it's a little under the table, not technically illegal because you're only technically on leave.
Well, perhaps if the the police basically take him on as like a contractor or something while he's on leave.
Yeah, they could do something like that. Yeah, it's one of them things that it might be skirting just a little bit, but it's not actually breaking any hard, fast rules.
Liaison to the strange folk.
Yeah.
Good work.
They don't give you any personal details on like the orcs that were found dead at the site.
Yeah.
On the officers, it's mostly stuff they've released publicly anyway. Maybe a little more updated than what the paper has gotten.
Yeah.
But you basically just swing by, you run in, the desk sergeant's already got it ready for you. You just have to identify yourself.
Yep.
So you've got that handy. So other than sorting out exactly how many chairs you need, is there any other setups you're going to do? I know Vivian says she's got the snacks.
I am taping I'm taping my pistol underneath the chair that I'm going to use.
We managed not to get caught once. Do we really want to push our luck with that?
He makes a note. He makes it to have the duffel bag into the broom closet with his rifle.
I mean, if you want to put maybe the gun in one of the file cabinets.
I will settle with the file cabinet.
Okay.
I will compromise with the file cabinet. I'll take the pistol, put it in the file cabinet.
Sit right next to the file cabinet.
No, there's still going to be a way. Now he has some movement to do, but it's okay.
Dorothy's like, oh, so none of you are going to be armed either?
Oh, I'll be armed.
Oh, okay.
Equal footing.
Recommended that we're not.
She reaches into her purse and pulls out this little derringer. Michael, you've never seen this before. You did not know she carried a gun.
Yeah, he just gives her a look like, was unaware you had that.
When she hands it to you, Salvador, you can tell this sucker's brand new.
He checks it. He's like, "Have you ever shot this?"
Do you actually know how to use
Well,
this?
I've dry fired it a few times in the apartment. I haven't had a chance to get to a range. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. The city's getting more dangerous. Need to protect yourself.
I absolutely agree. And he puts it in the. I'll put it next to mine. And he puts it in the file cabinet too.
You do notice the safety wasn't on.
I do turn. I don't say anything. I just turn the safety on.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right, so time rolls around. People arrive. You see them getting out. At first, just a couple of flunkies get out. They kind of check the area. They come up to the building. They check with y'all, make sure everything's ready. Let's see. The dwarves arrive first. It's Morgan Wolf that comes up. Not Morgan Wolf. Mason Wolf. Flipping into Battletech for a second there. Mason Wolf comes up. He's the one that comes and speaks to you. He's the one that Vivian spoke to you on the phone. Checking that everything's a go. He stays as one of the guards. They bring up their boss. They introduce him as Mr. Rochester.
Well, I will shake everybody's hand, and then I will insist that everyone gets patted down.
Mm-hmm. Teak will also be like helping pat down, and anyone who's going to be in the room, their weapons are going immediately in the chest, and he makes sure that they see where they're going.
If you want to be outside with your weapons, you may, but
and this was something y'all established ahead of time.
Yeah.
Morgan doesn't make a fuss. He steps forward. Lets y'all pat him down. The other guard looks less than happy. Clearly, he'd been warned in advance. He steps forward. He gestures to a shoulder, to a under shoulder holster.
You grab it.
Underarm holster. And then you pat him down, and he doesn't have anything else.
I will, as a show of good faith, like bring down my chest holster where it's empty.
Okay. Do that, and then lean over because the dwarves.
Yeah. Or I'll just like take a squat and do that.
Hey, little guy. No.
How to talk to short people.
We're
no
moving on.
Oh, what's that behind your ear?
And everyone can see that the two holsters on Teak's side are empty.
You pat down Mr. Rochester. They take some seats.
Vivian made sure to get an assortment of stuff that traditionally dwarven, traditionally orcish, neutral.
Yeah.
Scones.
Well, everybody, America being
Everyone
the
likes a
melting pot,
pastry.
there's a lot of crossover of just American cuisine that,
Yeah.
everybody has adopted. You can't go wrong with Tootsie Rolls.
Right.
You can. You really can.
If you eat 40 of them.
Oh, come on. I love the idea of a room full of orcs and dwarves trying to talk business while they're smacking on.
Horrible. I hate every bit of that.
Chocolate drooling out of the corner of their mouth.
Oh, no. I will walk out. Vivian just leaves.
Imagine all that stuck in the dwarves' beards.
One of the orc says that one of the big Tootsie Rolls just biting it like it's like a
They're having a competition to see how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop.
Top.
Orcs win.
Yep.
Somehow someone chips a tusk on it.
A couple of guards stay armed to stay outside. Several more go down into the diner. You give them the warning, but
I was gonna say,
tip well,
we
be
are
nice to the
prepping them on
waitstaff.
that. Yes.
To which Rochester glances at his men. By all means, good manners.
If you're provoked, whatever, but like, make sure you're provoked first.
What happens in the diner stays in the diner.
It's like the scene from Shaun of the Dead.
There's a whole like slash fan fiction going on down there, and we just never know.
Oh no!
We go down there, there's one piece of pie that's just kind of cantilevered, and the rest of the thing is destroyed.
It's an orc and a dwarf just sharing a sundae.
They have the 2 straws on it.
Yeah, 2 spoons.
There's another pair off in the corner, arm wrestling over a slice of pie.
It's the enemies to lover trope we all wanted.
Yep.
Shortly thereafter, the orcs show up. Remarkably similar procedure.
I make it a point to be the same procedure.
Yep.
No one is playing favoritism here.
Unlike Rochester, Marduk looks mildly annoyed that he's being patted down. He didn't make a thing of it.
Cooperation is appreciated. And you finish it off and put the weapons in the chest. Make sure they see where the weapons are going.
Mhm.
I think I've seen the chest at this point, and I've made 2 wooden slats to go in, so that these are the orc weapons, these are the dwarf weapons.
Nary the two shall touch. No cooties will be
Teak
exchanged today.
It's like Antique made a point of, okay, it's like stacking these in such a way that I know who they go to.
Yeah.
Puts a little name tag on each gun.
Just like a little tag,
Just chisel a little something
It's
onto the.
It's like when you it's like
tag.
coat check in at like the
Yeah.
clubs. Here's your tag. Good day.
If y'all keep having these sorts of meetings at your office, you might invest in something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Little
And
teak
then-
size closet.
And then the other thing we do is the same thing of like, treat them well down there, tip well. If you're provoked,
Oh.
Someone screenshot it, quick.
No.
Hey, y'all started this with me. All of you have to have one of those frozen screenshots now.
looking forward to it. I am looking.
We just
forward
got you
to it.
back. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you give them the spiel about, hey, we light to the wait staff downstairs,
Tip your waitress, all that stuff.
Marduk does not respond to this. You see the guy that seems to be in charge of the guards that are heading downstairs. You see he gives a little nod. When they're not committing crimes and killing people, mobsters did like to appear as civilized.
Yeah.
Good public relations.
And I think from there, we'll sit them down. I will look at both of them and go, would you rather the door be locked or open?
They both kind of look at each other.
Tika's sitting next to the gun cabinet.
And it's like, it's the silence as they're staring at as Rochester
The
and
first
Marduk.
debate.
It's like, for a moment, it's just long enough that the silence is slightly awkward.
Trying to see which one breaks first.
It's like there's a
Which
little bit of
one's
that,
the
and
bitch
it's
that wants
going
it
just long enough that
He looked at
that clearly one of them is starting to feel awkward about it. Rochester speaks first. Just shut it. We wouldn't want any random passerby in the building to overhear.
Of course.
And he'll close the door.
As though any random passerby is going to go, that looks like a bunch of dwarf and orcs. Well armed.
I want to go the other way now.
I'm sure it's
Come on.
just
I'm gonna
just
run on the other
a
side of the building and use
I'm,
that staircase.
I've got to go walk my goldfish or something. I'll be back.
sure they're just renewing a lease or something. It's
Y-
fine.
You know what? I'll just leave.
It's a lot of
I'll come back
pinstripe
in like
suits.
4 hours.
Mhm.
Yep.
Do
and
either
then-
of them
Hmm?
go ahead?
No, that's it. I'm doing all of the prep work because I am not the best at talking out of everyone here.
Mhm.
Teak is
I
sitting on the
am-
gun chest.
Do either of them
I'm making sure everything here is set up.
say
So,
anything about Dorothy?
Everything's nice and bang, 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 bang.
No, neither one of them say anything about Dorothy.
Okay.
And she's sitting over there, leg crossed, pad out, pencil at the ready. Looking very
I
professional.
will. I think if they don't say anything, then Salvador won't bring it up. But if they did say something, then he would have been like, "This is the person we're taking notes." But if they're not bringing it up, then Salvador's not going to bring it up.
Deep breath. Vivian will be like, first off, thank you both for agreeing to this. I know we've all got some questions, so open the floor if you have any questions of us first.
Marduk looks at you, Michael.
Mhm.
Did you acquire the reports that I asked you to bring?
He just pats his briefcase that he has like slung around his shoulder, basically. In here.
Rochester looks at you. What are these reports?
The police reports that state that the troll in question was run out of the city, or was last seen leaving the city, though they were chasing him.
You said you pulled the report out.
Now he pats his sort of like
He's like, "They're in here."
briefcase. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they ask to see it, then he will pull it out. But he just says, "I've got them."
And you're. I assume that then that we're that. Yeah, I assume that you're saying that the troll was the cause of our. He glanced up at Marduk. Recent unpleasantness.
They were, yes.
Do you have
Or he
evidence
was.
of that? I mean, I read about the attack in the paper. It didn't specify troll, but that makes sense. And some of my own boys have looked into it. And the injuries Marduk's men took do match up with what we've seen.
The only official word I have would be of my own Salvador's and Leo's. When
We were
we
there.
encountered the troll ourselves. At the time, it had taken a dwarven child hostage. Although hostage isn't the best term for it. He was going to shoot the child and then probably eat him.
You said was, so I assume your intervention got the kid out.
It
The
did,
child
yes.
is safe.
He looks over at Wolf. Find out why we hadn't already heard about this.
I have the information on the two children if you'd like.
I would appreciate that. Not that I'm in charge of all dwarves, in charge of all dwarves, but I would like to look into that. Now, the body of one of our people was found under. He rattles off the bridge.
At the time, I was unaware he was one of yours. The only thing I saw was a body. I didn't exactly want to get close enough to look to a 10-foot tall being that can throw orcs and dwarves around with a shotgun the size of a car.
I can kind of see that. And he glanced over at Marduk. Marduk is looking mildly amused at this point. Like he can't wait for Anderson to have to explain this part to the dwarf.
Mm.
Oh, Rochester's like, please continue. So you had an encounter with the troll. None of you seem any worse for wear for it.
I was able to talk him down out of hostilities.
Why was he killing our people?
From what he told us, which was at the time the only information I had, so that was what I was acting under, that knowledge. His reasoning was he believed that both of your people were coming after him and he was defending himself.
And you believed this?
It's the only information I had at the time, and my primary concern was trying to get that child away from him. So that's kind of what I focused on. Save what lives I could.
I think Salvador pipes in at that point to help with here
Yeah.
because
No, it's fine.
it isn't about whether or not we believed him in the moment. It was strictly getting the child out of his clutches.
That's fair. Marduk was sitting there going, oh, but there's more. Rochester looks at him, looks back over at Michael.
Making notes. So I'm also typing notes as we do this.
So what
Yeah,
happened
you're
after you got the
Odorfi.
child away from him?
Well, in order to get the child away, I had to promise to basically help him fix his truck so he could leave the city.
So he was stuck here.
Yes.
Wait,
From what?
so you were going to help him get away? Aren't you with the DA?
On leave at the moment, but yes.
Let's see. Had you mentioned the on leave part to Marduk the previous day?
I thought
I don't think he
had.
got. I don't. He wasn't put on
He
leave
did
until after he talked to Marduk, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on leave
Nope.
after the fact.
Never mind. So he would not mention that then, because I thought I already had to Marduk.
Okay, so you specifically don't bring it up in this conversation.
Yeah, correct. I'll say yes, I do.
You know, which you're on leave, which means you still do work for it, so it's not a lie.
Mm. Yeah.
That seems a little. That seems a little counter to your profession. Not that I mind a flexible lawyer. I doubt either of us, gestured to Marduk, really minds that.
While it is not something that I should have done, my word was given.
Mm-hmm. There's a pause, and it's like he's studying you closely for a second.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna study him back. And actually make 2 rolls.
Okay, what do you
First
do?
to see if I can just activate aura detection,
Fair enough, fair enough.
I'm gonna roll the vibe check.
which goes off.
Roll the vibe check.
Okay. Which adds...
And then you said you were interested in something else.
Yes, and I'm also gonna basically insight to see kind of the vibe I'm getting off of him right now. Well, actually, first I'm gonna make an idea roll to see if I can get the list of stuff that I can get for having aura detection active,
Okay.
which I do.
All right.
Literal vibe check.
Mm-hmm.
A very in-depth 3 rolls later vibe check.
Yeah.
Let's see. Health
I like
or
to
disease.
aggressively check his vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So you get health or disease.
Does he have the Capone special going on right now?
Oh,
Does he have the clap?
Yeah. So healthy or disease, severity, benevolent or evil, how much so, PowerPoint level, and a character power scale versus the psychic.
So health or
And then if-
disease.
There's also stuff like if they have anything magical on them, if they're possessed.
Not
Stuff like
possessed,
that.
nothing magical.
Mhm.
Health. There's something about his heart.
Okay.
It's not real severe.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a doctor. Maybe he's going to have heart issues in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's too fond of pork. Who knows?
Okay.
But nothing immediate.
Yeah.
Benevolent or evil.
Probably riding that line, to be honest.
Probably sliding a little over to the evil side.
Mm-hmm.
Lobster.
The Dwarven Brewers Guild is not quite as straight mobster as like the orcs are, but it's still
Yeah.
kind of a mob. It's just a mob very focused on bootlegging as opposed to anything else.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You don't get the vibe that he's somebody that's going to go on a killing spree. But if you became a threat to his people or his organization, putting a bullet in an individual would probably not be past him.
Gotcha.
His PowerPoints are 16.
So equal to mine.
More powerful on a much stronger.
He's vibe checking you back. Run!
Always iffy
Well-
on what the more powerful means.
Yeah.
If it's talking about supernatural powers, then yeah, he's not. You're not getting any vibe from him. He's got supernatural abilities beyond what dwarves just naturally have.
I think it's just like, I want to say it's like ability, but that's one of those. There's a lot of gray area there
Yeah,
to determine what that means. And I will say with that, insight.
All right, and what is the insight for specifically?
Kind of to get his vibe. I know I have aura detection active, so I can see all those those things at a supernatural level, but also kind of read the vibe he's getting from the conversation we're having.
Okay. He's clear. This studying of you has really started when you mentioned giving your word. So it's like he's focused on that and really kind of sizing you up. Is this guy that that hung up on his word? Is he really that honest?
I will say if he clocks that, then Michael will add in a man's word is his highest price. That's
And he
something
starts
you
nodding
guard very closely.
And even with your even with the limited amount of time you've studied, the fact that oaths are a big thing with dwarves is something you picked up on.
Yeah.
In the old days, they talked like that was honesty in general.
Yeah.
These guys are mobsters, they lie through their teeth regularly. but specifically giving your oath, which is a little more involved than just giving your word, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
You know, it's clear he's kind of judging you. You know, how serious you mean that. But he finally nods. He seems relatively satisfied.
I'd imagine he'd I'd imagine he'd consider it pretty serious, considering Michael went against his profession to see his
Yeah.
word through.
Well, according to the paper, he did drive out of town, so I'm assuming you got his vehicle fixed.
Teak will pipe in. Blown head gasket, took it to the Orc garage because it's the only place that I knew it could get done fast. I'm sure like the dwarves know Teak just by his like look, because they probably had a run in with him a couple times.
Well, I don't know. As a driver for the Orc Mob,
Maybe
was
not
Teak
so
like
much.
driving the car when they did drive-bys, or was he just smuggling booze for him?
He was well, Teak would never do the drive-bys if he could help it. So he would be like, you know, they robbed a bank. He's getting out of there. They, you know,
Okay, getaway
bootlegged.
driver.
Yeah.
Getaway driver.
Getaway driver. Yeah.
Getaway
Or-
driver / bootleg.
Yeah, yeah. So he wouldn't do anything that would be like, oh, we're gonna go murder some people with guns. So
Okay, fair enough. But they might be up to some theft or something. He'd be waiting in the car.
yeah.
Let's see.
Excuse me a minute.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I had a little catch in my throat. All right.
Mm.
So, you know, he turns and looks at you. Him and Marduk both kind of nod when you say that. So did the police just run across him before he got out? Or did you call him in on him?
They were drawn to what I understand, they were called in due to the gunfire that night.
And there were dead orcs found in the area. He looks over at Marduk. Your guys at the garage let you know. All right, I see. I think I see what happened here. You said you had a report about this?
I do, yes. And he'll open his briefcase, pull it out, slide it across the table.
And he starts flipping through it. Marduk looks slightly annoyed that he got the report first. But not enough that he like grabbed for it or anything.
I mean,
If he wanted it, he could have read it.
Didn't ask for it first, Marduk.
I was about to say, Michael, being a lawyer, he knows that saying that out loud is probably a bad idea. But in his head, he's like, "Well, the dwarf asked for it first. You didn't.
Yeah.
You just asked if he had it."
And Rochester clearly takes his time reading through it.
It's like that older brother that's like, look what I
Teak-
have.
Teak is watching Marduk, not making any expression, just watching Marduk.
I would also like to, since the
Watch
power's
Marduk.
active, also kind of eyeball,
I mean, I'll roll an
Yeah,
insight
Marduk.
or whatever you want me to roll.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me an insight. I mean, there are certain things you're going to pick up because you know this guy regardless. But
Nope.
yeah.
and yeah, Michael, if you want
I'm
to focus your aura thing on
5%
Marduk,
insight.
that's fine.
I'd also like to idea roll him too to see if what I can pick up on him. Which does not go off. Okay.
All right.
But I will insight, which is a success. So
All right. You're pretty sure Marduk hates this guy.
No, Okay.
No big shock there. He's also getting more and
Uh-huh.
more annoyed.
The longer he takes.
He's taking too long. He's obviously taking too long on purpose. He's goading me, so I can't give in. which is annoying me even more. You know, that kind of
Yeah.
Just she's rolling to get vibe on the two of them as
The
well,
room.
just so she can.
The room.
Yeah.
The
She
Dwarven guards
takes
are
that-
relatively calm. Rochester is slightly amused at the moment.
Gee, I wonder why.
Marduk is clearly annoyed and trying to hide the fact that he's annoyed.
Mm.
And not doing poorly at it.
Just imagine that he's one of those people who have like the pocket watch and he's sitting there just rubbing the shine away from it.
Kind of catching the tension. Vivian will be like,
No, he's just,
I'm sure we
he's
can
just
get
sitting there
both of you
doing
copies.
like under the table doing this right here to a pocket watch.
Can you repeat that, sir?
Sorry.
Vivian, if she catches the vibe of Marduk being generally annoyed, she'll be like, I'm sure we can get both of you copies of this, even if it's just handwritten.
Marduk's like, I would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And Rochester, oh, well, I'll just keep this one then.
I would actually need it to make the copy from, if you wouldn't mind.
Of course. Eventually, Rochester finishes, sits it back down. Marduk doesn't snatch it up, but maybe picks it up a little more forcefully than a pile of papers really needs. He gives it a quick skim.
Mhm.
Really just verifying that it matches up with what he already knows and anything Michael might have told him.
Mhm.
And then he kind of rotates his chair around and hands it directly to Dorothy. Who takes it, sets it down, and starts copying.
Do we maybe have like a typewriter or something in the room? It's an
Do
office.
we
We
have-
probably have a
do we have-
typewriter.
Do we
Yeah,
have Mickey's
Mickey-
old typewriter?
Mickey would have had a typewriter.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing was... The police came in and emptied all of his files. They took all
Yeah.
of his files. Or everything they wanted out of his files, anyway.
Mhm.
But like nothing else in the room was touched.
The accoutrement still there.
Yeah.
Y'all literally showed up wanting to rent the place.
Yeah.
Similar purposes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just flat out, we are taking over for Mickey, kind of, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the landlord was perfectly happy to let y'all handle cleaning it out if that's what y'all wanted to do.
Less he had to pay.
There was a Howl's Moving Castle cleaning montage one day.
Peek is looking at the corners. It's like, there would be a nice place for a hammock.
But,
Well, it's Teak. You literally just pull open one of the file cabinets, and that's where his bed is.
He has more dignity than that, man.
he'll couch surf at Salvador's.
Yeah.
So y'all set the typewriter on one of the filing cabinets and she starts typing away. And there was just enough room for the typewriter to set the papers down.
Yeah.
Mental note, we will have to get a small desk for that.
Well, you have Mickey's desk, but that's currently what everybody's sitting around. So.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just like a side table or something.
Yeah.
Like a buffet table. There were some books and tchotchkes on there.
If it works.
Now-
So
now
for
that
the rest of the
facts
meeting,
have been
there's the
presented-
gentle of a keyboard of a typewriter behind you.
typewriter. I
Ding!
think Salvador starts and it's like, now that the facts have been presented, can we
Dun,
go
dun.
on and speak about maybe taking things down a notch?
Obviously, we're not asking either one of you to discontinue any of your businesses, but offering perhaps a third party to communicate through before things get heated would draw less attention from the police, and that would benefit you as well.
Rochester nods. A gang war would not be beneficial to us at the moment. He looks at Marduk. To either one of us. Marduk kind of goes, it depends on who wins, I guess. But yeah. But there's the potential there that either one of us, even how would he put it? Marduk goes, but there's the potential that, even if we won fairly quickly, it might weaken us enough that the Italians would make a move.
Salvador was mentally rolling his eyes.
Teak in his head.
broad
Or the
principle.
police. Teak in his head.
Both of the men. Oh, yes, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
They were both about to look at you and literally roll their eyes. Yeah, the police. Sure.
No. He wouldn't say that out loud. He would just be like, "Where are the police?"
But Rochester speaks up. There's still the matter, though, of some of his men jumping some of mine. Marduk is clearly letting some of his frustration out. They watered close to where we found some of the dead. He'd have done the same thing. They should have been nosing around one of our businesses anyway. What were they doing in that area?
Kind of just letting them go at it and just.
And
If they
Rochester's
start
response
getting-
is, "You don't own the street."
Gentlemen, it was at the beginning of this, neither one knew what was going on. Well, I'm not saying there are not debts to be paid. Perhaps the debt could be lightened.
Both of them sit back, alternating between looking at you and looking at looking at each other.
Yep. Behind them, there's a dwarf writing in a book for no reason.
A miscon.
But I'm trying to catch what that was a reference to. But
Warhammer Fantasy, the
Yeah.
Book of Grudges.
Yep.
oh, okay.
If you ever heard that's going in the book, that's where that comes from.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
I had a D&D character, dwarf, Path of Vengeance, Paladin, Oath of Vengeance. That was his whole thing.
All right, but so Marduk looks at you, Vivian.
Hmm.
What would you suggest to listen?
Perhaps an exchange of goods. I'm sure there's people on the workers' side that may be interested in Dwarven Brew. Perhaps at a discount. Perhaps a setup of trade routes between the two.
About a tithe.
I won't
We
pretend
have
to
our
work
own
out any
suppliers. We don't
specialties.
need their.
I think I look at him as he says there in that like space between words, like, don't fucking do it.
Give me just.
I'm gonna roll command.
Yeah, command orc.
I believe in you.
Critical.
No,
nice.
natural one.
That's really good.
That's hilarious to hear a natural one and be excited for it when they come
Yeah.
from D&D.
Yep.
There's that space
Yep.
of time, and Salvador's eyes are just
Don't.
peering green hatred into this person's eyes, into this person's
Mhm.
face.
Yeah, you've got
Put the fear
Salvador
of God
goes
in the
like-
man.
Salvador goes full Judge Doom and literal daggers shoot out of his eyes for a second.
Jeez.
Put the fear of God in the man.
Mm-mm-mm.
Just 1 second.
Vivian will, if she needs to smooth that over at all, she will attempt to.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking at him.
Okay, I have not
I'm-
given.
I'm imagining if he ends up backing down, he's doing this in front of his underlings. too.
Yeah, he wouldn't.
Yep.
And the opposing boss.
Mhm.
Well, he's not saying anything. It's just a look he's giving him,
Yeah.
and he did score
It's
a crit, which
Mhm.
I mean, Marduk's going to get a roll.
Sure.
Yeah.
Marchek.
Yeah, it's a buddy of mine's name.
That's
I
the next
probably-
work boss.
No, that's I
Well-
know Marchek, the guy he's talking about. So
Now that I think about it, though, Marchek's and his wife do own Grinning Ogre Farm, so it would almost work.
Jeez.
Do they not have generic crime lord stats?
Mm.
Ninja, gunslinger, detective, galactic knight.
Oh, like tonight.
Ooh, cyborg.
We'll save that one for later.
Yeah, that one's on the back burner.
Well, you know, keep in mind, multi-genre game.
I was like, oh, now you have my attention.
Galactic
interest.
Knight.
I mean, me with a shelf full of Imperial Knights over there.
Rom descends.
All right. Well, we'll just use this guy's stats.
I realize I said the words green hatred to an orc, but you know,
Mm.
can't unsay that.
It was his eyeballs. It wasn't skin
Yeah.
tone things.
All right, insight. That would probably what he would resist with.
Sure.
So he needs a 65 or less for success. And he rolled an 89.
Oh shit! Think I just made the orc boss kowtow,
All right, that is not enough for a fumble.
but I critted. But that was
But
pretty.
yes, that is a failure
pretty
versus
funny.
your crit, so...
Yeah.
Which I think counts as a fumble.
Maybe it's just more noticeable than it would have been.
Something in the combat definitely would be.
Yep.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I'm thinking of like the combat, like attack defend
Yeah,
thing.
Cheers. Yeah.
Mm.
I think he just sees the look of a man who killed the strange folks boogeyman several times over.
That, just the eyes of a stone cold killer with that, don't you do it, look.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
He's channeling his mother.
Why is he holding a sandal?
because elves landed in Spain.
Yep.
Actually, yeah, didn't elves like land in Spain?
Spain and France.
Elves are Spaniards.
Predominantly.
Okay.
You know,
Fair
kind
enough.
of France and the rest of the peninsula.
Mhm.
Yep.
So he bites off the insult. You can't
Yep.
tell for sure if Rochester caught the exchange or if he just thinks Marduk was about to say something insulting. We don't need their
Best to
product.
think better of it.
You know,
Right.
we have our own supply.
And
I
what
would
would you
suggest-
suggest? I'm not overly familiar with either one of your businesses. And looking at the two of them, in a situation such as this, what would happen? Outside of bloodshed.
Rochester's like, his boy just jumped some of mine. Normally means we jump him back.
Due to the circumstances, I think they've been jumped back already. Even if it was not by your men.
We didn't do it, but he did wind up with a bunch of guys dead. Still, I need to go back to my people with some sort of. He looks at him hard. Concession.
I think Salvador speaks up and is like, how would you feel about a tithe for this one instance?
Who are you saying that to specifically?
I'm saying it to both of them.
Okay. A tithe?
Yes, you pay him for his inconvenience, and you both go about your business.
Give me a persuasion roll.
Sure.
Can Vivian help with that?
Special.
Oh,
Jesus
hey.
Christ.
Jeez.
Never mind.
Never mind, you got this.
Yeah.
All right, both of them got successes, but not special.
Hey.
So
Doesn't have to be a lot, but just enough to where, hospital fees or whatever may have, however severe the damages may have been.
Something that you both can agree to.
Yes.
Doesn't even have to necessarily be coin.
And if
Money
need
is-
be, a
Money is far easier to replace than people.
and if need be, an unofficial contract that can be written up for both of you to have to signify that a deal was reached.
all right. So from there, we're not going to roleplay the entire negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Salvador, with your
All right,
special,
let's get.
you managed to get the ball rolling, and then
The one person who's not a talker got it.
so it winds up not being a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Like
More
maybe
symbolic than anything.
it comes out to more or less a week's wage for each of the guys that got beat up, and it's going to them specifically.
Yep.
So it's not a huge concession, but it's something that makes Rochester look good to his men. The guys that got beat up, well,
I take care of my men.
yeah, and that's
Sort of
to everybody else, like, well, he got something for the guys. So.
Yep.
And there's a general agreement to let the bygones be bygones, business as usual, pretend the last week or so hadn't happened.
And
They do get a rough write-up, it's not really worded like a contract, but it's the rough agreement they both agree with. Dorothy writes it up, 2 copies they both sign, they both handed each other. It's not like there's going to be an official copy kept somewhere.
Might I also propose a exchange of information in the future as far as supernatural beings
Okay, this seems
outside
to
of the
catch,
normal?
this catches them both a little bit by surprise.
Such as if we see the troll enter the town before
Yeah.
you do.
She'll offer that up. If one of you sees the troll, you let the other know. Combined forces can better take on mutual enemies. Same if you see something other than a troll, another supernatural entity. Let each other know. Let us know. That way there's no confusion as to what is attacking each other.
Okay, Vivian, give me a persuasion roll.
Teak would also pipe
give
in.
yourself a 10% bonus.
Woo!
Because this is a pretty reasonable suggestion.
Hey.
And Teak,
Oh, come on! Does the
Would
game
you
take me
like-
10% the other way?
Would you like
Well,
to
you can do the
spend a
fate
fate
reroll.
point?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend some fate points. I got enough. It's what,
Yeah.
power?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
5
Yeah.
points, I
So-
believe.
I'm fine.
And you roll your reroll is with your power.
Okay.
If I remember.
Wait, reroll is the... Huh?
Hang on.
You roll the
subtract
skill again, you
5
spend the power points.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
yes.
I'm thinking
Subtract
about
5
just the
power points and then
baseline-
reroll it.
just the baseline luck roll I'm thinking of. I forget.
There you
Hey,
go.
That's
There you go.
better.
Hey.
You're going across the spectrum today.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Times.
Mhm.
So you start.
Honestly.
It's like you start to make the suggestion and get a little tongue tangled. Clear your throat and carry on.
Take a sip of water.
Yeah.
Get a little frog.
You get the. It's the. What was it? Blades in the Dark. You basically had a flashback of yourself saying, "I should have said that," and then you go back.
Mm.
So you suggest that, and you specifically bring up the troll, but with the critical, you've got them both sitting there thinking, and Rochester's like, or if something like the brew happened again.
That was what
Exactly.
Teak was about
That
to say.
is.
Mhm.
That was Teak was going to say,
that
or
was-
if the
that
brew
is a
shows up.
concern.
Him and Marduk look at each other.
It would not only save your own men, but just people in general, which is beneficial to everybody.
if something of chaos comes up and there's a visible shudder, these two mobsters both visibly shudder at the thoughts of chaos. Imagine run-of-the-mill people in the 1920s finding out their next door neighbors were Satanists. It'd be a strong reaction
extreme.
today. It'd be a much stronger reaction then. The devil has literally shown up in town earlier. Well, if he shows up again, maybe we should work together. Not a bad idea. If you've ever seen the end of The Rocketeer when the gangsters realize they're working for Nazis. It's like, what?
Yeah.
The next thing you know, they're next to the G-men shooting at them. You get almost that reaction, like,
We wouldn't want further misunderstandings to occur as to what the true enemy is.
They assume this mutual information sharing that y'all will be included in that.
Yeah. Like if the dwarves share something with us, we would share it with the orcs.
And
And vice versa.
Specifically something supernatural of the supernatural.
Specifically
Right.
supernatural, not business information.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a round agreement. A Rochester insists specifically to get your oaths on it.
Sure, why not? This won't come back and bite her in the ass.
Well, it's not really.
That is not said out loud, but yeah.
It's not really any different than somebody,
Yeah.
wanting your word.
Swear on it.
Yep.
But just had dwarves.
We just had this discussion earlier.
Yeah. So Michael recognized the significance. If George were here, he'd recognize the significance for sure. But yeah, so there's a general handshaking. Dorothy hands over the written agreement.
Mm.
And then there's just a matter of who leaves first.
Both shouldering, trying to get out the door first.
Let's see. They both do kind of take a step towards the door.
It's like now we need to just put in a double door so they can leave together.
Second one just jumps out the window to be the first one out.
Jeez.
I'm assuming weapons are handed back out and everything.
Yeah.
We will hand them back as they come to the door. Yes.
But the way they get to the door,
Let Marduk have a win.
Rochester gets there first, but the way he's opening the door, Marduk's able to kind of slip past him. It's almost like Rochester was opening the door for him. And Marduk is, he's very...
And he tips the hat to him.
Yeah, basically, it's not... Oh, thank you. Right out where everybody in the hallway can see.
They're going to kiss like 6
classic old school pettiness.
sessions later. They're going to kiss and be boyfriends in like 6 sessions.
Oh.
This is not an anime.
Could it be, though?
Look, we just played an anime. Yeah. I keep thinking the old Carnegie, it was it Carnegie Rockefeller Christmas present fight? They would basically insult each other via Christmas presents.
Yes, I remember. I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. For example, Rockefeller was an early member of the Temperance Union movement. So Carnegie got him a fine bottle of Scotch whiskey for Christmas.
Nice. The pity was strong with that one.
Yeah.
All right, so Marduk and his men head on down. They get armed up. Roger's like, we'll give him a couple minutes to clear out.
While they're getting all of their like armaments, Salvador's going to go in the filing cabinet, grab his, and put it in his holster.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go down to the diner and have a celebratory malt.
I will say, while since Marduk is just like, oh, thank you, and just like shouldered his way out basically. If Rochester is still there,
He is for a
Michael
moment. He doesn't hang
yeah,
around inside
Michael-
too long.
No, it's fine. Michael will approach him and tell him, in the interest of the oath sworn, I am then obliged to tell you that the Windburn precinct has asked me also to swear an oath to them to inform them of also supernatural matters for the defense of the city.
Yeah, Rochester nods his head. I would ask that, when possible, that you would keep if I give you information, if we give you information, for example, don't necessarily mention where you got it from.
You got it from another member of the city.
I can say and not violate my own oaths and my word that I got it from a concerned citizen.
Very good. Yeah, if something like what y'all ran into before shows up, I'm not talking about the troll. That's bad, but handleable.
Yeah.
But if what you ran into before shows up, I want as many guns pointing at that as possible.
Goat things.
The brood, yes.
That is their
Oh
name.
yeah, you're not one of us. You should probably study up.
I was working on that.
He reaches up and pats you on the shoulder. It'll probably give you nightmares.
If only you knew.
I do know. It will.
So Salvador heads downstairs. Is anybody else heading down there with him, or y'all, or the rest of you staying in the office?
No.
If everyone's cleared out, then Teak will go down.
Yeah, once the dwarven contingency clears out.
Yeah.
So y'all are basically coming
Clears
down the
out.
stairs behind the dwarven contingency.
I think Salvador wants to get ahead of it just to make sure that all hell hasn't
Everyone
broken
behaved.
loose downstairs. Yeah.
All right, so Salvador, you're the first one of y'all's group out the door.
Mhm.
You see orcs coming out of the diner and piling into their cars. Marduk is already in his car.
I kind of just wave at them as they leave.
His men are starting to get in. Give me a
Spot.
Yes, a spot.
Success. They can't all be crits, I guess.
No.
You've had your fair share tonight.
Yes.
Teak will
Now,
do a spot.
be sure to share.
Well, I'm ahead of it, so
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We can say Teak slipped out with you.
sure.
Y'all been partnered up today.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's.
Oh,
I haven't
Teak
made a roll
don't
yet.
see crap.
Nope. Teak's like too short, so I just assume like the dwarves are just like in front of him. He's like,
Unless he would like to go,
okay.
wait, look there. The stress
No.
of the day got to him.
As hilarious as that would be, no.
Since I've made just an idea roll, I'll try one too. That was and
Well, not all of
Lucky.
you slipped ahead, but
okay.
What are we
But
spotting?
I rolled ass anyway, so it didn't matter.
No, this was
Teak
just
and
Teak.
Salvador spotted because they were the first two out the door.
Ah, gotcha.
Gotcha, okay.
Gotcha.
Yep.
They slipped ahead of the dwarven contingent, so y'all are
Teak-
like sandwiching the dwarves as you're on their way
Teak,
out.
I
Teak
was
goes
talking-
to turn around and like see how everybody is, and he runs into the door. He's like, ow, and just keeps going.
Not again.
So Salvador, you see, there's traffic on the street. This is.
Mhm.
But you just register one car slowing down slightly, with its window down, and a Tommy
Gun!
gun. The second you say that, the Tommy gun lights up. With that second of warning, though, some of the orcs are diving for cover. One guy literally steps between the oncoming car and Marduk's car. And gets riddled.
Oh God. Is this like what the fuck is it? My I was gonna reference a gangster movie and all of them left my brain as I was going to.
That is my life every day.
Yeah.
Anytime I go to reference
I just-
anything, I blank on any knowledge I had of it. If that camera is on.
Yeah.
But So it's mostly people diving for cover. Inside, y'all hear the gunfire. The dwarves all go on alert, guns out. One of them starts pushing, basically, one of them reaches back and just starts pushing Rochester back up the stairs.
Yep. Yeah. Michael's like,
Vivian.
the hell?
I think-
Where is Dorothy?
Do I have a visual on what they look like?
You don't
On
get
that
a good look
success.
at the driver, the person in the passenger seat shooting. All you can really tell is big beard. They've got a big hat pulled down, bushy beard sticking out. Like the way they're standing, it's bushy beard, and then you just barely, you can't really even see their eyes from the shadow of their hat and being inside the car.
Yep.
With the morning sun more or less back behind.
I can infer it's a dwarf.
Yeah. But yeah, they did that. They rake that car quick, and then they kind of, they rake down. You have a few tires explode on the other vehicles. They rake across Marduk's car. The one guy gets riddled, but Marduk's car takes some shots too. And then they speed off.
I can't catch up to them, so I'm just gonna see if there's.
Or
I'll just yell up, Doc, and he'll rush over to the.
Okay. Teak, what is your
Indeed.
response?
Well, that's why I was asking where Dorothy was in all this.
She's still inside. She
Okay.
was exiting with most of the party, so she was behind the dwarves coming downstairs. So she's still inside.
Okay. Teak would have ducked behind a whatever was closest, like a vehicle or something, to get out of the way.
Okay.
means
He would not go after any one person if you're asking that question.
Okay, I was about to ask, are
Um,
we about to have a high-speed chase here or not?
So
Yeah, no.
Michael, since his aura is active, he's gonna shoulder past everyone to get a look outside, see if with his basically psychically enhanced senses, if he can pick anything up.
License plate.
Give me an agility roll to see if you can get outside quick enough. With this
Agility?
This massive dwarves you got to
Okay.
get through.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
just a raw dex check, basically.
Parkour.
Nope.
Unfortunately, no.
No, it's fine.
And
I call for Doc and wait till he comes over and
Yeah.
explain the situation.
I come over. I run up to the get. Does Marduk look like he's injured at all?
As you run up, you glance in the window where Marduk is. He's slumped over, but he is holding his arm, so he's clearly not dead.
And the guy who took the bullets.
Give me a quick roll. He does not look good at all. You can tell that at a glance. Give me a quick roll to see if you think he's already dead or not.
34. So that is out of. Would this be a first aid or a medicine in this instance?
Either roll is acceptable.
Okay. First aid. 34 out of 66.
Okay. You're pretty sure this guy's already dead.
All right. Now.
There's a hole in his head. There's definitely a lung puncture. Some of his organs may not have realized it yet.
I'll just ask. Is that the only injury you sustained?
The guy with the hole in his head?
Marduk or the dead guy?
No, I'm
Dude,
talking
Marduk.
to the Marduk.
Okay.
I realize.
Yeah, they just got me in the arm. The arm.
You want me to look at that?
And his guys are scrambled around. They've all got guns out. A couple of them are watching you close. Yeah. He reaches over and unlocks the door. Give me a first aid roll, because
Yeah.
We'll say while this is happening, Michael is gonna go back upstairs, and he's calling the precinct.
Promised.
27.
All right.
First aid.
The good news is it does not seem to have torn up any major major arteries. It seems to be a clean shot that just punched through. So you're able to do basic first aid. Obviously he needs to get to a hospital. For a full.
Yeah.
To get the full job done. But on the street, this is the best you're gonna get. I'm assuming you had your baseline medical supplies with you in your little bag you carry around.
Yeah.
As soon as you got him ready to go, one of the guys that had parked further down, closer to the diner, they get his car out and they move. As soon as you're done, they move Marduk over to take him to the hospital.
And now we have the obvious question. Who else knew this meeting was going to be happening?
Let me roll to see if any of the orcs spotted what young Mr. Salvador spotted. Let's see, what is there?
I mean, the dead guy might have, but
The
He's
dead
not
guy
saying
would have gotten
much.
a very good look.
Mm-hmm.
Does this universe have necromancy?
Shamans
Actually,
can talk
yes.
to spirits.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I am not there
Time to-
yet.
I
Time
mean,
to bring
not
out the
Leo. I
hoodoo
mean,
voodoo.
real shamans.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Time to
Yeah.
bring out the hoodoo voodoo.
Yeah, but somebody in universe says that to him. He clocks him with his iron fist.
Yeah.
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 Real enough shaman to knock you
Yeah,
out.
yeah. Shaman magic is tends to be more buffing stuff or healing, so
You
Yeah,
can
it's
do
like
it.
a World of
You
Warcraft
can do
shaman.
some fun stuff with a fetch too, though.
yeah.
All right, so there's spot. Okay, what's an 03 on a 35?
Might just be a critical.
And I think that's
They
a
require a
special.
2
Ooh,
for a critical.
Yeah.
Close.
So it's a special. The bad side is that means they saw the same beard that you saw, Salvador,
Uh-huh.
and they bring that up, and several of the guys turn and start looking at y'all's building again. Let's see, where was Salvador's roll?
Salvador was just a regular success.
This guy got a special. So he also points out that the driver looked human,
Okay.
which doesn't mean anything. If you do business in any human part of town, you're gonna have some human employees, so they don't stand out.
Yeah.
But the Dwarven Brewers Guild is less known for that sort of thing.
Mm.
So the fact that he rolled higher probably saved us trouble.
Saved another drive-by.
Mhm.
And and with that being, and as I bring it up previously, who else knew about this meeting?
the cops.
The cops didn't know. I don't know if they knew
Somebody's
the
got a mole in their
exact
organization.
time and everything.
They
I can't
did.
remember. Oh, you gave them all the detail. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Al-
You
Also,
hear?
Michael is not down there to ask.
That's fair. All of you outside hear police sirens because remember the police were going. That's right, because you had told them the details. And the police were going to have guys a couple of blocks away
Mm-hmm.
with like maybe one officer in the diner, one or two officers in the diner to keep an
Yeah.
eye out. So as soon as that happened, those officers would have telephoned in or something.
Mhm.
Salvador hears police sirens. He's like, "There goes my victory malt."
The sirens
They-
hearable
man's dead,
inside, of
Salvador.
course.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Brewers Guild.
If the sirens are audible inside, Vivian will look over to them and be like, I unfortunately don't share the same law-abidingness as Mr. Anderson. I would suggest that you leave before uncomfortable questions are asked.
They nod. Before
you go, we've exchanged word. Can I get your word that this was not your men? Because I know that is going to come up.
Rochester locks eyes with you. This is one of my men. I'll shoot him myself.
I appreciate your candor, and she heads downstairs.
One of his men slipped out, and is looking around. Vivian, as you walk out, some of the orcs are yelling at him. And you see him gesturing. If it was our guy, we wouldn't have shot our own vehicles and stuck ourselves here.
Vivian will straight up walk between them, lock eyes with the orc. I forgot the dwarven guy's name.
Rochester.
I have Rochester's oath. It was not his men. Back off.
Yeah, they've dealt with these guys long enough. Do they know? I won't say they're satisfied with that answer, but they kind of, they're still grumbling, but they...
We have bigger problems now. If you have a way to leave, might I suggest you do so?
You see a quick unloading of some of the extra weapons that were in a couple of the vehicles getting loaded into one or two of the vehicles that are still functional, and those drive off. But a fair amount of the orcs themselves still hang around. I mean, after all,
they're just orcs.
It's their wrecked vehicles. Some of those vehicles could probably be traced back to people. So all of y'all are standing around outside, basically, at this point, except for Michael.
There was a shooting. We're all going to stand outside.
Yeah.
Dorothy
I'm out
probably
there vacuuming
Michael.
the grass.
So, Michael, you're on the phone with the precinct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically doing what I said he would do. He would report if something happened.
As soon as you identify yourselves, you get sent over to the captain.
Yep.
Our men contacted us that they've heard gunfire.
Yes. Somebody just drove by and shot up the place, I think, from what I could hear.
Okay, well, we had a couple of guys. We had a couple of cars. A couple blocks down. They should truthfully be arriving just any second.
Okay. He's gonna walk around the diner and see if there's any innocents that got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, I'm checking for anyone else injured.
All right. So the way the building is set up, you've got the diner on this corner, and then the entrance that y'all use to get up is kind of on the opposite end. So most of the shooting happened down here. The diner took no damage.
Okay, good.
Most of the vehicles that are still working were the ones that were parked closer to the diner.
Okay.
They drove by and they lit up where they saw the clumping of people. And they raked the tires of some of the cars as well as Marduk's car. Marduk's car was clearly targeted more. So either they knew ahead of time what car was his or somebody was watching to point it out to him.
Salvador has since gotten a malt and is sulking in the parking lot drinking it.
We'll say
if you've ever seen somebody sad, go ahead.
The last thing Michael does say, the police captain, saying he's probably gonna have to go here in a second, is a truce was reached.
Oh boy.
Let's hope it holds.
So, was anyone shot?
I don't know that information.
He's not there.
He's not there.
He has not stepped out. He never stepped outside.
He's being entirely truthful. He doesn't know that information. It's like I was about to step outside and assess things.
I've got one of the detectives on the way. He'll take charge of the crime scene. He'll get your official, he'll get everybody's official report.
Understood.
Thank you for keeping me in the loop.
Of course. That is the promise I made to you.
You hang up. Dorothy just standing there listening to your side of the conversation. Her breath's a little.
Yeah.
Is it always as exciting? I mean, terrifying, but exciting.
Hopefully not.
I mean, the meeting was fine. I've been in tense meetings before taking notes. She goes over and she looks out the window down there. Oh, yeah, some of them cars.
And the dead body
a
in the
body?
street, or did?
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't think that guy's getting up.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, Leo's a doctor, isn't he? Yeah, Leo would be working on him if that guy had any chance of getting up.
Yeah.
I think you should probably stay up here for right now.
I think I'll tidy up the office.
Please do.
Maybe finish off some of those snacks that we never bothered to give anybody.
They were sitting on the desk.
Everybody was tense and focused. It's not a bad
In
thing.
clear snack range.
Congrats, Dorothy. You're on retainer.
Yeah, Michael will come downstairs after that and start looking things over.
Dorothy's pouring herself some coffee, grabbing one of the
Salvador
little
will
sandwiches.
Salvador will meet him halfway and go, there is a drive-by. It was... Do any of the orcs... I would have heard Vivian yell that this was not the Dwarven Brewers Guild.
Mm.
So I'll catch Michael up to speed.
Okay.
All right, so you get outside, you get caught up to speed, no problem.
Yeah. He'll also share that the precinct did have a few officers on standby nearby, so they'll be here shortly. He'll say that quietly to Salvador.
Yeah. As you're stepping,
tense
and
things
as y'all
are.
step outside, those you can hear the police sirens already, and yeah, those cars pull up.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a victory malt.
Stead is a limb malt of sorrow and future troubles. So they pull up, police get out, guns drawn. The orcs are all very professional. It's just all, hey, they get patted down.
The 40 guns that they're holding.
Some of them still have their sidearms on them. They don't make any fuss about it.
Yeah.
They explain themselves merely as being, Mr. Marduk's, security. He was having a business meeting. Tragedy struck when they tried to leave. They explain that he took a hit and he's already being rushed to the hospital. They tell him what hospital. The police are asking pointed questions. If you've ever seen a crime scene drama kind of thing, it's that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
When the police
That's
clearly know
standard.
you guys are like up to no good, but the people are trying to up to no good, but there's nothing provable going on, and you weren't actually the person at fault here.
I mean, technically, none of them were up to no good.
No, yeah,
they literally were just having a meeting.
But up to no good in general.
Yeah.
A few of the dwarfs slipped out the front door and are standing around, close to their vehicles. But Wolf, Rochester, and a decent number of the security guards, must have slipped out the back door or something.
It was like, oh, there's a shootout. I'm just gonna go.
They were inside when it happened.
Yep.
They saw nothing. They barely heard anything, really. I mean, it's just, and that's and the dwarves that hang around. That's what they report to police. Hey, business meeting. We were inside. We heard the gunfire. We only came out after it was all over. These are our vehicles. The police come around and take individual statements from each of you.
Mhm.
Interestingly, they don't ask a lot of questions about, what was the business meeting about, or, why was this odd, eclectic group here having this business meeting? None of that seems to be important to them. When they're questioning you, it's
Mind your
just, what
business.
did you see? What happened?
Yeah,
What did the vehicle look like? Did any of you see the shooter?
Salvador would have that information.
What does Salvador tell the police?
Salvador tells what he knows based on what he, but also adds in the stuff that he's been told.
Yeah, because
Scraggy beard looked human.
Well, the driver looked human.
The driver looked
The
human,
shooter was
the
in the back
person-
seat.
Yes.
Yeah.
It appeared to be a dwarven man, but I was also told very soon after that it was not. It was sworn on the oath of the businessman that was here.
Oh, there was somebody here that isn't here now.
Guess not. I guess you'll have
Is
to
that
tell him.
literally what you tell the cop? Oh yeah, this business
No,
guy.
I
What
think
business
he-
guy? Oh, I don't know.
No, he's just like, yeah, the businessman. You know them.
The businessman.
I don't think Salvador is like pretending that this would, or besides the pretense of like business.
Business.
Business. None of
Yeah.
yours.
Business.
Business.
The officer actually
Yeah.
locks up for a second. How am I supposed to handle this? It's like we were told we weren't really supposed to know about this meeting.
There's a man dead over there.
Yeah, and there are other officers over there dealing with that. All right. So anyway, you spotted the. Oh, so yeah, you spotted the shooter. Somebody else spotted it. Okay.
Yes. Spotted
So-
the shooter was a dwarven man, Tommy gun. I didn't catch the driver, but we were told that it was appeared to be human.
He's like, okay. Who told you that?
One of the other gentlemen that's over
Yeah.
here.
And you pointed the orc, and that orc is already being questioned. Is already talking to an officer. So he's like, oh,
That man over there being talked to by the other officer who will corroborate my story here in a sec.
oh, very good, very, very good. Leo, they come up and talk to you. You got a little bit of blood on your hands.
I explained that I was assisting a man that was shot. The man that was taken was on his way to the hospital now.
Yeah, you've got your medical bag there, maybe still open.
Yeah.
Nobody else got shot. Everybody else dove for cover.
There's a saw blade. There's a saw in there for some reason.
We might need to amputate.
Need to, want to, whatever.
Yeah.
Now it's a human officer taking your thing. He's like, orc? Oh, an orc doctor? Huh. It's only
Very loudly
mildly
roll my
insulting.
eyes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Microaggressions, my old friend.
let's see. Okay, it's 9:30.
Mhm.
So eventually the police let everybody involved go.
Mhm.
Because the orcs were not doing anything here to break the law. I mean,
Neither
they
were the
did have a lot
dwarves,
of
neither
guns
were
on
the
hand, but
Beorn.
that's not illegal in the place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Neither did the dwarves that were stayed behind. Neither did the Beorn.
Yeah, everybody had a
Beorn
sidearm, but
had
it's,
to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the Wild West was only like 10 years ago, so
Yeah, exactly.
So that wraps up for the day.
Mhm.
In the coming
Does
weeks. Oh, go ahead.
oh sorry, I was gonna say, does Teak stay over at Salvador's again? He'll let him,
Probably. Yeah.
but it just
Teak will probably go back to his apartment, grab a few things, and come back.
he's got a go bag.
Yep.
So, yeah. No, the Model Teak was not shot.
Oh, thank God.
I imagine y'all parked down close to the diner to leave space,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or maybe even in the back alley behind the.
It's kind of where we park anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're saying in the coming weeks.
In the coming weeks, unfortunately, there remains a fair amount of tension.
Mm.
Marduk's injury is perfectly survivable.
Yeah. But
The
now it's
gangs
the-
don't. They don't erupt into open warfare. Things are not as tense as they were previously. People are asking around about a dwarf and a human working together, or trying to find the car. Ultimately, there winds up, like I said, over the course of the next few weeks, not being any solid answers or leads on it. Everybody's a little suspicious of everybody. But yeah. So the troll, the anthill kicking the troll dead, y'all have taken care of. And then somebody else immediately comes and tries to kick that same anthill.
Because of course that's how it always works.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, it's pretty conclusive evidence that there could very well be an actual third party that's trying to antagonize things.
Always a possibility.
Maybe they sent the troll in the first place.
Could be a minor faction within one of these groups trying to come to dominance. Could be some other major party.
Could be.
Maybe it was Dorothy all along.
And maybe
And a
we'll
little
find,
dog too.
and maybe we'll find out next week, or maybe next week it'll be a whole new disaster for y'all to take care of.
I'm
Maybe.
eagerly looking forward to it.
But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I had fun tonight. I had kind of thought there might be a high-speed chase. I'm not going to lie.
It's okay. We'll get you next time.
That's why you asked me. I was like, yeah, no, Teek's not stupid. He's like, no.
Come on, it was two guys in a
question.
car. Teak could take them.
He'll insult
yeah,
the mob
yeah.
boss, but he's not chasing that guy. Come on.
I will ask a quick question though.
Okay.
Since I did say that Michael was doing research the morning before, can I make a quick research roll?
I will allow it. Given the oath thing, it actually kind of came up this session, so go ahead. Well, we'll get to that.
Nope.
Failure.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so I had
I
fun.
didn't
Y'all
have
had
the plus
fun.
20 'cause I didn't have the
Hopefully
power after
everybody
that.
come by to watch us or listen, enjoys it, and will join us next week.
Mm.
Again, I was your storyteller for the evening, Jason. And with me has been Patrick playing Leo, Dr. Leo. Jeremy playing Salvador. Eric playing Michael Anderson. Sarah playing Vivian.
Aggressive jazz hands.
And Carr playing Teak. And we will see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.
So tread
Good night,
Further
everyone.
aggressive jazz hands.
and heed the sign. Abomination, Ali's light. For in the night the shadows grow, and take with them your trouble.